what you're talking about. Please tell me it's not a pedophilia app. What are you talking about?
Thing or what?
Oh God, now I need to know what.
You can download an app that drops a pin for every sexual predator around you.
What?
It's not worth it. I did it, and it's very...
Just pins?
Wait.
Yeah,
up to what proximity level?
It'll tell you where they live.
Are you
where
talking
they
about
live.
like...
No, you
can you do it inside of like the bar you're standing
It's not like the stars. Where you
like Google.
That would be awesome, actually. You just use your phone to look around. It's like, no.
Yeah, no, you just hold it up to somebody's face and you say, ew.
It's pink.
Yeah.
It blinks at you.
So wait, that's like pretty much like the sex offender registry that you can just like look up? You can just have an app for that now and just know...
And if
there's
at
an app
any
for
point
that.
in time, you can look it up. The reason you don't want to do it...
You don't have to pull it up in this room right now. I'm not going to say why. The reason you don't want to do it is because you were fine not knowing. I live in a very large apartment complex, and I'm sure that would
guarantee
really fuck me
there
up.
are so many sex
Because I never
clubs.
see anybody. It's one of the biggest apartment complexes in Austin. I don't ever see anybody walking around, and I got a feeling everybody's hiding.
No?
Something.
Right.
Everybody's hiding from something.
And I think it's because the only people I do see are kids out in the parking lot. Never hardly see any adults. I think that's because they have to stay indoors while
Or
the kids are
maybe
in
you
the parking
block
lot.
everything else out.
Ooh.
And you're
the
sorry.
pedophile.
all you see is kids. I think that's what you just told us.
Oh my God.
Man.
Oh my
I
God.
appreciate you putting up with me for this whole time because I'm obviously having a weird mental breakdown. I really appreciate you wearing a beanie with a propeller and some overalls for this.
You
Amy,
look so perfect.
always here with the lollipop.
Oopsie doopsie, I dropped my chocolate.
Oh no!
Oopsie doopsie.
No, I can't end this on a horrible, gross
If I heard a
joke.
kid say oopsie doopsie, I dropped my jawbreaker, I would think that kid was a cop. That would be like obviously.
You're
what
right.
that
Yeah.
is.
Oh,
Like, that kid
just
is-
total bait.
That's like when a guy comes up to you and he's
Kid's
like,
got a string
"Hey,
attached to his
could I have? Do you have any of those marijuana cigarettes? It's $4.20, isn't it?" You're like, "Oh no, this
Which
guy's
is
a
also
cop. This is
Hitler's
what's happening."
birthday.
No, like, what's going on?
I would like to say, for the record, you can rewind this, that I was not the impetus for this. I went with it because because polite conversation is necessary in a podcast.
Yep,
But I did not go this route.
you're
on my
right.
own.
You're right. You are.
I am obliging to my guest right now. And I gotta say, it's kind of nice that I'm not the one driving this, but we should,
I'm going to be honest with you. I was wondering if we were going to go down a weird rabbit hole because I feel like, and let's just, I was like, this is not how I'm ending this thing, so I'm going to ask you one more question and then we're going to wrap it up so this weird conversation is not the last thing we talk about.
I know, I bet my mom... Never mind, keep going.
So, our number one listener.
Yeah,
Hi,
my
Renee.
mom listens to all of this.
What if
when you
what if you had the Sex Addict app up and you were in your house at home? You saying, "I doubt my mom would," and then you stopped. What if, like, you realized your mother's a sex offender?
I was just about to say, sex addict and sex offender are two very different things.
Did I say addicts first?
You did first.
Okay.
So I was going to be like, those are two different apps.
I mean, that Venn diagram can come together.
Yeah, it's a Venn diagram for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the ones outside of the offender list are having a good time.
But it could also be like people that like to pee outdoors in public too. So like,
Yeah,
there's,
that's
like,
true, that's true.
There's a lot of crossover there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you could be 17 and have a 16-year-old girlfriend and be on the sex offender list. You don't know.
Right.
So, with reference to deeply offensive material, I know that some of the comedy that you've done, like with Eggs and other groups, has pushed the limits a little bit.
We've talked about like a lot of the stuff that you've written being, having that dark twist. Anyways, I was wondering. It didn't surprise me that this conversation took that turn. Anyways.
Yeah. But I heard, and you and I talked about a little bit of the Staple Face show, that it really pushed boundaries. Did you guys write that as a group? Were you part of the writing, or were you just directing it? Or was it all improv? How did that get developed, and how did you affect it?
That was 100% like any way it comes. Some people wrote sketches and brought them in, and then we would improvise the hell out of it. And a lot of it just came from, okay, let's do a scene where you're at the office and there's no more K-cups. And then somebody comes in, they're just like, no more K-cups. And then we just built on that. And that was so fun. Like,
that specific
so
example.
Fun. That show.
Yeah.
The show was because we had zero expectations other than we're doing an hour-long show, and we did every different kind of dimension of like audience address. They did a show on Frontera Fest, and there's one scene. Did you see the show?
I didn't.
So we do like 2 short form games that are super dark, and one of them is like, okay, we're gonna play Freeze and Help. So could you give me a suggestion of your favorite childhood toy? Anybody, your favorite childhood toy? And we're playing it like it's like we're at Comedy Sports and very like professional, and we're really proud of what we're doing. And then at Frontera Fest, perfect. The lady said, pogo stick. He's like, pogo stick. Okay, for a sense of scale, can you hand me a pogo stick? And tell me what color it was. She was like, it was silver and it was orange, and I used to jump on it, and you go like this, and he's like, okay, so hand that to me. And then she like takes it, and like really gets into it out of the audience, and she has to pass it up the audience, right? And then she gives it to Clayton. Clayton's like, okay, awesome. So when the lights come up, freeze and help. Lights come up, and he goes, and then the scene lasts for about 10 minutes, and it's just him shoving it up his ass in as realistic way as possible. And he's like, ah! And then people freeze in, and they're either like sticking like a shoehorn in his ass, or spitting on his ass, or like doing all kinds of gross things. And then finally he sits down on a chair, and when he sits down, he's like, ah! Ah! And by that time, everybody in the audience is like, oh my God, this is so, and it's so visceral, right? It's halfway over, because he stands up and he's like, and people come out and try to help him puke it up. And then Kyle finally comes out and puts a fishing reel, like, line down his throat. And he's like, I got it. And then when he pulls it, Clayton's like going like that, and he's walking around the stage with him, and it's just, Clayton looks terrible, and he is literally exhausted by the end of it. He puked on stage trying to do it one of the Staple Face shows. But so Kyle and everybody get back behind Kyle, and they're like, one, I think we caught ourselves an orange and silver pogo stick. And then they pull it out of him. He's like, ah! And you gotta hear it, because it's like, feels like it came out of him, right? So then Nikita comes over, and she picks it up, and she's like wringing it off and unhooks it. Ladies and gentlemen, freeze and help. And then she hands the pogo stick back to the front row so they can pass it back to the lady. And the lady was like, no. Take it, you take it, you take it. And then the lady who had the pogo stick was like, I'm not going to touch that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to touch that. And it was real. I mean, in my mind, it lasted like 2 minutes that she was arguing. And she said she was like really offended. And she wouldn't take it. And the lady in the front felt like she was stuck holding this disgusting pogo stick.
That's awesome.
And that's why I think no props like can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they were disgusted, and she was like, what am I supposed to do with it? And then the lady once again was like, get it away from me! Get it away from me! And it was real.
Wow.
Took somebody's childhood toy
Yeah.
and shoved it up Clayton's ass. That's...
For 10 minutes.
That's...
Like, it was inched into his ass with, like, improv games, you know?
I love that. I love that so much.
Oh my God.
I love that so much.
You gotta watch Clayton do it. He's so real.
Yeah, he's pretty excellent, for
Yeah.
sure.
He's also just one of the the nicest, most positive dudes that I've ever met. And
Super
just for him to
positive, yeah.
find that sort of dark place is always it just shows the sort of depth he has as a performer. And
Oh, he's such a performer.
I mean, enough depth to shove a pogo stick at least.
But also, the contrast. I mean, it is a really hard contrast to be super hokey short form improv, but also this is how we do it, and it's gonna hurt me. Mm-hmm. So every time he'd have it half up his ass, and people are trying to help shove it up his ass, and his face is red, and he's really in pain, and then somebody's like, freeze, and he's like, and then someone comes in and they put salad tongs in there and open it up a little bit and then shove it up and then unfreeze him, and he's like, oh, and he would actually literally react to if salad tongs had opened up your anus enough to inch it in a pogo stick a little bit further, and he's like, oh my god, yeah, and he that actually helped me get around the handlebars a little bit, thank you. And the more detail the better.
Yeah. Oh man. Now the audience is horrified at this point.
Yeah,
I have two questions. One question: I have so many questions. What are my two questions going to be? My first question is: were they angry, and did they leave and/or complain about the show?
Split down the middle, and this happened throughout the run as well. Some people did not like it. There were people who would leave because when you see someone gagging, it's kind of contagious.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there were things like that, but there were also really nasty things that were said in the show. So yes, a crowd like Frontera Fest is not ready for that, and we all knew that walking in. But we knew that we would win some lifetime admirers as well. And there were some people who were like, holy shit, that show was fantastic, But most people exhausted their nervous laughter within the first 2 minutes of that scene.
My other question is, how did the festival take it? Do they just go, it doesn't matter what happens?
It's fringe.
That's it. They're just like, you like it, you don't. It's fringe.
Fringe.
So they
theater.
didn't call you later and go listen, you can't be bringing that here.
Nope.
They're just no, some people liked it, some people didn't. That's just the way of the world.
Yep.
Man.
A pogo stick would have been helpful in a Schindler's List sort of scenario.
Oh boy.
No, that's hey, this didn't get brighter after we stopped talking about Schindler's List.
I feel
this didn't,
you're right.
Lighten up.
No,
it's not like we went from Schindler's List to
But stuffing an improv pogo stick up your ass and then puking it out is an artistic discussion we can have.
Yeah,
if you want to talk about how they made the movie Schindler's List, sure, I'll talk about it. But it's the topic of the movie has no association with what our conversation is.
That's your hero's journey through life.
Absolutely. Yeah,
oh my God.
Those fences were only I'm just saying, pogo sticks back in the day.
This
has been so fun.
Yeah.
I want to say this has been so fun. This has been a big box of chocolates for me.
Yeah.
And I've eaten more Twizzlers right now than in my entire life. I just want to say that right now. I have more red wax inside of me.
You did the pizza thing where I felt like you were folding it and then eating the fold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, because I don't know.
I just got the candy because it's Valentine's. Also, Wendell, you and I hadn't had candy together for a while, so I was like, let's have some sweets.
I don't think Twizzlers when I think Valentine's Day, which, that's my birthday. In a week.
Yeah.
I'm fucking 30 years old.
We're both older
than
you. I
this
just want
means
you to...
nothing to this audience right
No,
now.
absolutely not. I'm going to be 40 this year.
Me too.
This year is good.
August 31st.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. My husband's birthday is August 28th.
Cool.
Yeah. Weird.
Are we both? Yeah, we're both Virgos.
Uh-huh.
Leo's the September 1st or something, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't
no.
know. I've never been into astrology. Astrology? Yeah. Because I'm a